Good evening, Otherworldies. This is Queen Juliana, your Dark Mask Diva. Alright, you guys, I'm going to talk about, toxic friends. Okay, so everybody attracts a different type of toxic friend. Okay, so I'm just going to talk about a few different types of toxic behaviors out of friends, because if I talk about every different kind of toxic friend, this is going to be a really long content, and you guys know that I don't make long contents, so I'm just going to talk about like a few different kinds, okay, and just specifically the ones that I've dealt with. But you could have a totally different personality than I do, so you may attract a different type of toxic friend that you have a hard time kind of get away from me, you know. So the end game with a toxic friend is probably you really just can't be friends with that person anymore. And I was on Reddit, and I'm getting this impossible question from this guy, okay, and he just doesn't want to hang around this other guy, and he's asking this question, and it's kind of like the impossible question of the day, okay. Everybody's having a hard time answering the question, so if you guys want to just kind of chime in under my video and say what you did to finally get rid of somebody. Okay, and I don't mean, get rid of as in bury the body kind of thing. I mean, just get rid of somebody, okay? Just kind of get that person kind of out of your life or whatever. I mean, some kind of practical idea that doesn't involve anything that'll get me in trouble, and, get somebody striking my video because of something you put under my video. Please don't get me in trouble. So just put something G-rated under there, okay, if you have some kind of suggestion, because this guy was having a hard time getting anyone giving him any real practical advice on how to just get rid of this obnoxious dude that just wouldn't leave him alone. Okay, so I'll give you kind of just kind of a description about what was going on. Okay, so this guy kind of lives in his neighborhood, and it's this guy that likes to hang around him and stuff like that, and he says he's kind of aggressive and doesn't listen, and he bugs him, knocks on his door, wants to hang out with him, and he's this guy that he's kind of not a next door neighbor, but he's a neighbor, and he wants to hang out with him all the time. And so I basically told him, this was me, I basically told him, you have to decide that no part of you wants to hang out with this guy. And you have to decide that you have a backbone and that you're not going to answer the door. Okay? And if you see him, you're not going to stop and chat with him. You're just going to walk the other way. Okay? And you're going to decide that under no circumstances you're going to hang out with this guy. Okay? And you're going to have to tell, if you have a friend group with this guy, you're going to have to tell the other friends, look, this guy may not do this to you, but he does X, Y, and Z to me, and I don't want to hang out with him anymore, okay? He's just whack or whatever, and I just don't want to hang out with him, okay? He's got on my last nerve. I'm through with him. He's just, no, okay? I don't want to play cards with him. I don't want to do whatever you guys were doing with him as a group. I just, if you're going to hang out with him, you really just need to count me out, okay? I hate to be this way, but I'm really just done with this dude, so if there's a party and you're going to invite him, you can just not invite me, okay? And I'm really sorry to be this way, but I really don't want to have anything to do with him. So you have to tell everybody in your friend group that you really don't want to have anything to do with this guy anymore, okay? So you're going to have to tell everybody in the friend group if you're in a friend group with that particular person, okay? So you're going to have to warn everybody, because what this guy is going to do is when you start rejecting him, he's going to start rallying other people to hang out with you as a group. All right, because these are very manipulative people. Okay, so he's going to be manipulative. He's going to try to get other people to hang around in a group, okay? So sometimes these kinds of people are only annoying to you. They don't do it to other people. They usually do it to other people, but sometimes they don't. Sometimes they only do it to you. Sometimes they choose one person to just get on their last nerve, and it's you. Okay, so it's kind of like they're gaslighting, and other people are like, "What are you talking about? He's really cool." Like, I think you're being unreasonable. Well, just don't invite me around if he's around, okay? Like, seriously. And, you have to tell other people, hey, I don't care if you think I'm being crazy, I just don't want to be around him, alright? He just gets on my nerves. So, what happens if he comes around and knocks on the door? If he's truly obnoxious, he's going to do that dope fiend thing where he peeps in the window. You guys have heard me talk about the dope fiend thing, right? Where people will peep in your window. Okay, that's something a truly obnoxious person will do. When you start not answering people's texts, calls, or whatever, when you block people, they don't want to take no for an answer, okay? They're like one of those aggressive old school salesmen who stick their foot in the door so you can't shut the door. Okay, they're like those people. They're going to start peeping in your windows, okay? Because this is a person, if this guy is truly obnoxious, he's going to not want to take no for an answer. And if you say you don't like him because he doesn't have any boundaries, he's going to look in the window. Okay, so what you're going to want to do, and this is something I had to do, I had to put things in the window that were taller than the person who was peeping in my window's head. Like, I put some posters in my window, right? So, and some room partitions that were just taller than the person's head. So they couldn't do like this and look in the window. But they were tall enough to let light in, but people couldn't peep in. So I had enough privacy to where I had light coming into the window, but that particular person could not peep in the window. So you should not have to do that. But if you know that person is capable of peeping in the window and they've done that before, and I had told that particular person not to peep in my window, and they still kept doing it. So I had to put those posters up taller than that person's head. That was the only thing that kept her from peeping in my window like that. And that was like, and I'm sure she's a dope fiend, because only super aggressive people that don't have any boundaries, or people that have that constant like dopamine spike going on, with the narcotics and stuff like that, are peeping windows like that. Okay, so sometimes you have to do things like put barriers on your windows and stuff like that. Hang your curtains in such a way where people cannot look in your windows like that. All right, and it's maybe a little strange looking from the outside, but you have people not peeping in your windows at that point. You've completely disabled them from doing that. All right, so and the guy on Reddit said, hey, I fixed my curtains so he can't do it. And he goes, and I have a fence to where he can't really look over the fence. I mean, he'd have to climb a ladder to be able to be like, and look in the window. I mean, he'd have to really, go out of his way. I'm like, okay, well, just, do the thing with the posters if nothing else. That's my thing I finally had to do with my person, who sounds a lot like your person. All right. So I had a friend who had a boundary problem where she wouldn't stop texting. I'm like, look. And she had anxiety, and that's why she wouldn't stop texting. Well, see, I have anxiety. So every time she texted me, it would make me angry, and I'd tell her to stop texting me all the time. Right? And she did the texting all the time because she had anxiety. Well, see, I also have a problem with anxiety. And I was hooked on benzodiazepines for 10 years, and I kicked the habit myself. So that's how bad I wanted to kick the habit. I kicked it myself with no help from anybody. Okay, so I'm that kind of goat, okay? So I'm not going to let anybody get in my way to trigger my anxiety. So I had to drop that friend because she would not respect the fact that she was triggering my anxiety and texting me all the time. I told her to stop it, right? Well, she she would not respect that. So I had to drop that friend. I'm not letting anybody get in the way of destroying my peace. So sometimes what you have to do is you have to eliminate people, places, and things that destroy your peace. Because you don't like being a drug addict, okay? You don't like having substances in your body that are not good for you. You don't like being hooked on things that are not good for you, all right? So, people like that are toxic, that do not respect you, and this person knew that about me too. I'm saying, hey, you're really destroying my peace when you do that, and you're triggering my anxiety, and I know you do that because you have anxiety. It's just like, it just looks like you and I don't mix. And then I had to keep blocking that person on social media because she found out I was on TikTok, so she added me on TikTok and I had to block her. And, I would have to block all of her Facebook accounts, and I would have to keep blocking her on, because I'm on a lot of social medias, and every time she would pop up and try to add me on another social media, I would have to block her again. I had to, block her phone number. I had to just keep blocking her over and over and over again. She'd pop up again. I'm like, darn it, and I would have to block her again. And she kept trying to add me on everything. Block her again. I mean, that's how aggressive she was. And yeah, I just, so some people are just aggressive. They don't want to listen. They still try to follow you on social media. They still try to do all this stuff to where they don't want to leave you alone. All right, they're still interested in what you're doing. They're still interested in following you. They're still interested in being in your life, where you're just kind of like, hey, just seeing your name, so-and-so started following you, will trigger you because you just don't want that person in your life. They might have been a friend for a while, but just the fact that you've told them over and over to stop doing something and they won't. Okay, that's just disrespectful. So some people, they're just aggressive. And I told that guy, I said, hey, he's going to walk across the street when he sees you and say, hey, do you want to go do something? You're going to say, no, I'm busy. Doing what? I just told you I was busy. He doesn't need an explanation. Okay, the less explanation you give him, the better. I told you I was busy, and that's all you need to know. Okay, so this guy doesn't need to be in your business. He doesn't need details. Okay, because the more details you give him, the more questions he's going to ask you. Because some people, the more information you feed them, they have 12 more questions for every bit of information you feed them. Just because somebody asks you a question doesn't mean they need the answer. Okay, for especially people like that who are intrusive and ask too many questions, all right? They're asking questions so they can manipulate you. So people don't have boundaries like that, okay? All right, now, some toxic friends, they want to hang around you. It's time to stop hanging around them when they start making you feel bad about yourself, especially when they're doing things to gaslight you. And I've talked about this before, when they start playing the we're in the same boat game. All right, and Etalon said this one thing to me, and I always thought it was funny. He goes, it's one thing, to be in the same boat. He goes, but it's like, hey, I'm in a yacht and you're in a life raft. We're not in the same boat. And it's like, it's kind of like you want to put them in check and tell them that. We're not in the same boat. Now, I've had people say, hey, we're in the same boat. Okay, it's like, no, we're not. I need to lose 40 pounds. You need to lose 100 pounds. We're not in the same boat, okay? Get it straight. And you want to tell them that, but instead you don't tell them that. You just go, you start working out, you start eating better, you lose your 40 pounds, and they will stay 100 pounds overweight, and you will lose your 40 pounds, okay? You will go to the doctor and say, hey, I need to lose 40 pounds. I was just at my doctor, and I said, I can't wait till it cools off so I could, start walking again so I can lose my 40 pounds. And they're saying, well, you're not really a candidate for Ozempic or anything like that because you're really not that overweight. And I said, well, I wasn't really asking for Ozempic because I'm not diabetic, and I'm not really asking for any drugs either. I said, I just wanted to cool off so I can walk and lose the rest of my weight. I've already lost 50 pounds by myself. So I think, I can lose 40 more. I just need it to cool off so I can, it's, I don't qualify for any surgeries or any like weight loss drugs or anything like that. But I don't like when people who are a lot more overweight than me tell me we're in the same boat. No, I'm on the yacht, you're in the life raft. I mean, it's not the same boat, trust me. But you don't need to tell people that. You just need to look at them and be like, nice try. But they are trying to make you feel bad about yourself. And that's the thing. The thing about insecure people. Insecure people, their MO is they're not right within. Insecure people are not right within. So what they're going to try to make you do is make you feel bad about yourself. Okay, insecure people cannot help but try to make you feel bad about yourself, even though they're your friend. And I'm going to say friend. Okay, with quotation marks. Even if they're your friend, okay, they're going to try to make you feel bad about yourself, because insecure people, they kind of can't help it, because they don't have a solid foundation in themselves, okay? They don't have a solid core in their being, all right? That's because they're insecure, okay? They can't let other people feel okay about themselves, because they don't feel okay about themselves. Only people who like themselves can really just encourage other people and say, hey, you know, you're doing great, you look amazing. It's really just other people who like themselves who can. Sometimes if an insecure person loves you, they can say nice things to you about yourself, but it's really a secure person who can compliment other people and encourage other people and say, hey, you're really beautiful, you're really smart, you're really amazing, you're this, you're that, and can cheer other people on. It's really like a strong person who can coach others and lead others and stuff like that. Insecure people can't be leaders. Insecure people can't be coaches. Insecure people, you know, can't be role models, okay? It's like the only thing insecure people can do is tear other people down and try to make other people feel bad about themselves. Okay, so when you get around people like that, you know, they're toxic and they just want to suck the life out of you. They're narcissists, okay? You know, and you know I talk about narcissists on my channel, so that's basically what they are. They're trying to make you feel bad about themselves. And they could be telling themselves you're in the same boat, because they're trying to make themselves feel better, okay? That's, they're trying to like grasp at straws. So what you want to do is you want to get away from these people who are trying to say you're in the same boat, okay? So you're going to want to get away from these people, all right, because they're going to try to make you believe it. Okay, and if you do have some kind of fault or flaw about yourself, just work on it. Just work on yourself, okay? But you don't need to be around that person. All right, because how are you going to work on yourself if you don't feel good about yourself? You need to feel good about yourself to be able to work on whatever is a flaw about you. You're gonna need to believe in yourself in the first place and like yourself to be able to work on what is, you know, a little imperfect about you. You can't work on yourself if you don't feel good about yourself, and you're not going to feel good about yourself if you're hanging around insecure people, because they really just kind of bring your vibration down. You don't want to be around these insecure, toxic people. And the guy that I was talking to on Reddit, he just said this guy is controlling. He doesn't listen. All right, and this is a person who has problems with boundaries. All right, and that's why I had to stop being friends with you know, a few people that I'm talking to in this talking about in this content. Okay, so I've had to stop being friends with a lot of people during the pandemic era, because they really started showing their true colors. The pandemic era brought out a lot of negative behaviors in people. And so that's what was good about the pandemic era, because a lot of people started showing their true colors. And it hurt my feelings. But it opened my eyes. And I was like, wow, I just really never noticed this about so-and-so before. But now that everything is, you know, down to the wire, and, you know, we all have to be careful about what we're doing over here, I'm noticing that so-and-so is very disrespectful. And we can't have that. We can't have that, you know, now that I'm sober, now that, you know, we're worried about COVID, now that all this is going on, I really can't have this in my life anymore, and I'm going to have to stop hanging around so-and-so. I'm going to have to stop accepting this behavior from so-and-so. I'm going to have to stop tolerating this from so-and-so. You know, and I just noticed, you know, all these people that I thought were cool before actually weren't. And it was sad to have to notice it, but it's kind of like sometimes we just need to notice these things. And you learn a lot about yourself when something like this happens in the world. And you notice things about people that you were just putting up with stuff from people. But it's time for self-improvement. It's time just to surround yourself with high vibrating people who respect you, people who are in your corner, people who don't make you feel bad about yourself. You know what I mean? Get rid of those people. They don't need to be around you. You need to love yourself more than letting people who make you feel bad about yourself hang around, okay? And when it comes to these so-called friends, these people with low boundaries, you have to make a decision. Sometimes you can't hang around the same places because they're going to come looking for you. Change your routine up a little bit. They're going to come looking for you, so if you go to the library after work, go to the coffee shop instead, and then go to the library. Do something like that to where it's going to confuse them a little bit. Do something like that. Just switch your routine up just a little bit to where it's really just going to confuse the person. Okay, so they can't follow you around. All right, so that's my advice. Good luck. Just do whatever you can just to evade the person, and just keep telling them no. Block them, delete them. Just consistently tell them no. Okay, don't give in to them at all. Okay, so that is my advice, and I hope you're all respecting yourself. You're putting your boundaries up, all right, and you're not putting up with these people. You don't need to, all right? Well, I love you all, otherworldlies. This has been Queen Juliana, your Dark Mask Diva, and you guys all have a beautiful, blessed evening. Good night.